Good morning, and I completely ruined my hair. I'm Joshua Pearsall with Practical Christian Lessons. We're going to be going through Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 6 today, and after we read through it, we'll have some stuff to point you to elsewhere, but we'll go and get right on into the text for now. And this is one of the longer chapters in the Wisdom of Sirach. Well, maybe not buckle in, but get your drink. Do not be an enemy instead of a friend, for a bad name brings shame and disgrace, and a double-tongued sinner is of such a kind. Do not exalt yourself with your own counsel, lest your soul be torn in pieces as by a bull. You will devour your leaves and lose your fruit, and be left like a withered tree. An evil soul will destroy him who possesses it, and make him an object of malignant joy to his enemies. Pleasant speech will multiply his friends, and a gracious tongue will multiply many kind greetings. Let those who live at peace with you be many, but let your counselors be 1 in 1,000. If you gain a friend, gain him in testing, and do not be in a hurry to trust him. For there is a friend who is such to his own advantage, but he will not remain beside you in the day of your affliction. There is also a friend who changes into an enemy, and will reveal a quarrel to your disgrace. Again, there is a friend who is a companion at table, but will not stand by you in your day of trouble. Further, when you prosper, he will be like you and speak boldly to your servants. But if you are brought low, he will be against you, and he will hide himself from your presence. Stay away from your enemies and hold on to your friends. A faithful friend is a strong shelter, and he who finds one finds a treasure. There is nothing that can take the place of a faithful friend, and there is no way to measure his worth. A faithful friend is a medicine of life, and those who fear the Lord will find him. He who fears the Lord guides his friendship rightly, because as he is, so also is his neighbor. My son, from your youth up choose instruction, and you will find wisdom also into old age. Come to her as one who plows and sows, and wait expectantly for her good fruits. For in her work you will labor a little while. Then you will quickly eat of her fruit. She is very harsh on the undisciplined, and on the one who lacks the heart to continue with her. She will be like a heavy stone of trial upon him, and he will not delay to throw her off. For wisdom is like her name, and is not manifest to many. Listen, my son, and accept my judgment, and do not reject my advice. Put your feet into her fetters, and your neck into her collar. Put your shoulder under her, and carry her, and do not be angry with her bonds. Come to her with all your soul, and keep her ways with all of your strength. Search for her and seek her out, and she will become known to you. And when you become self-controlled, do not let her go. For in the end you will find her rest, and she will turn to you in gladness. Then her fetters will be as strong as a strong protection for you, and her collar a glorious robe. For there is a golden adornment upon her, and her bonds are a blue thread. You will wear her as a glorious robe, and put her on yourself as a crown of exceeding joy. If you are willing, my son, you will be taught, and if you apply yourself, you will be prudent. If you love to listen, you will wait with anticipation, and if you incline your ear, you will be wise. Stand in an assembly of elders, and who is wise? Attach yourself to him. Desire to listen to every divine narrative, and do not let proverbs of understanding escape you. If you see a man who has understanding, rise early in the morning, and let your foot wear out the threshold of his door. Set your mind on the ordinances of the Lord, and practice his commandments. He will strengthen your heart continually, and the desire for wisdom will be given to you. That's Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 6. As you can tell, a little bit of practical advice in there, and then definitely a big focus on gaining wisdom and seeking out advice. As you can tell, and as the author said in the prologue, and I love to point this out because I just love the Proverbs so much. The author is clearly so heavily influenced by the Proverbs, and it was meditating on the Proverbs as he wrote this work. But I think a big piece of advice to give, and this is coming from someone, I think this is just a human thing, but when I was a young guy, when I was 16, 17, 18, I thought I knew it all. And shortly after I turned 18, started going out and experiencing the world more fully, I learned very quickly and very harshly that I did in fact not know it all and needed counseling and advice from those wiser than myself. Not that I took that advice to heart particularly quickly. It still took me a few years to actually start following that out. But that is my advice to anyone who doesn't already do that, is as the author said here, right? Of course, seek out good friends, but also seek out wise counselors. And don't just let anyone be your counselor, right? See that it is someone who is wise, who gives good advice to others, who leads well, if that is if they're a leader, or whatever the role is, that they do it well and that they know what they are talking about. And listen to them. Don't just, let them talk into your ear and then it goes straight out the other. Actually take their advice, consider it, take advice from others, even if they're conflicting, take their points, seek out people who are wiser than you and listen to them. For everyone who's just here for the read-throughs, that's the read-through, and that's my little bit of commentary on it today. And now we're just going to have some extra stuff here at the end. So if all you care about is the read-throughs, you're good. Go on and get out of here. Otherwise, please feel free to check out the rest of this. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button as well, and you'll be able to follow along with our read-throughs and the stuff I'm about to talk about and everything else we do and for the years to come. Today's the 2nd, is when this video should be coming out. On the 1st is when we put out a video called What is an Arminian? According to John Wesley, we did a little read-through of what is an Arminian by a lover of free grace, or according to a lover of free grace. I forget the title off the top of my head, but it was an article by John Wesley. And then we just sort of walk through how it's still very applicable today. Very much so. Very many things from England from the past few hundred years still very applicable to our modern day culture. I'm not sure how that has occurred, but it very much is the case. And I think that's definitely worth a watch. If you're interested in our other content here, our Wesleyan Arminian content, we make videos doing read-throughs of not just the Apocrypha, but John Wesley, Jacob Arminius, and other works that will probably make their way onto the channel. We make theology videos from time to time. We're sort of making like maybe not necessarily a systematic theology, but like a foundational theology for Wesleyan Arminianism, and hopefully Arminianism in general. That'll be on the channel before we start moving on to other content. We make lessons as well that hopefully I can start turning into videos at some point to accompany my blog, which you can find in the show notes below, as well as a playlist for our other Apocrypha readings that we do here, the Wisdom of Sirach readings, and then on the channel you'll find several other playlists for pretty much all of our readings and content we make. I organize it all in a different playlist. But that's kind of there. And talking about the Proverbs today, I pulled a lot from a devotional I myself have written for our Reflecting on the Proverbs series, which you can find on our channel. Nicely organized into a playlist. It's all shorts, so it's very short. It's just little reflections on the Proverbs daily, and they were largely inspired and pulled from the devotional that I wrote that I will be putting out online sometime soon. Hopefully in the next 1 or 2 weeks. I finally just sat down and made myself write the introduction. Everything else about it's been done for some time, and I just hadn't actually written the introduction, but we've gotten written out now. So be on the lookout for that. I will make probably a short discussing that when that comes out. And that's just kind of what I want to talk about at the end of this video, the stuff we do, plans for our future, and I really appreciate and value everyone who, whether or not you've made it to the end of this video. If you haven't made this in the video, you don't hear this, but all you guys who watch, who like, who subscribe, who just follow along for the content and are here as we're growing. I can't wait to see what God does with this channel here in the future, and may He not let it puff myself up. Pride is certainly one of my weaknesses, so I encourage you guys as viewers, if you think I'm starting to get puffed up with pride and it's coming through in the videos, feel free to throw that out in the comments. Pride is certainly one of my weaknesses, so you might not be as off base as you might fear you are. You might be right on the money. Don't be afraid to call me out on it. That's part of being in the body of Christ, is being called out for your sins. So please feel free to do so. You guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.